Welcome to Art Bites.
Honestly, look in my eyes. Don't let it fall on me. Say you're a good guy.
There is a need for this video. Any artist or any art student who's ever been given a theme or a brief to develop, they'll know that knowing where to start is perhaps the hardest hurdle to overcome. Most of us, when we're up and running, can carry on to some sort of completion of a project. But it's this starting point that seems to cause many of us most of the problems. So stay with me until the end. It's not a long video, but if you do, I promise to reveal one of the ideas generating systems that you can apply today to get ideas that'll make your friends, colleagues, and fellow students absolutely green with envy. So just like, subscribe, share and smash that notification bell, and I'll give you access to all the systems and lots of material that'll help you in your career as an artist. A good idea is absolutely priceless. But generating ideas can be extremely frustrating. The ideas I'm going to share with you come from over 2 decades of teaching college students. So take what you want from them, use them as you feel fit, in any structure, any way, shape or form that suits you. So if you want to read everything in more detail, that book's available for you. Have you ever wondered why some people just seem to be able to get ideas? Maybe you're just like the rest of us, struggling to come up with that idea. Sometimes it all just seems so unfair. But of course, you're not alone. This is an age-old problem. And thankfully, there are some systems that we can apply to help us come up with our own exciting ideas. So this video is just the first of several. So please check back, see what other videos are available in the near future. There's nothing worse than staring at a blank sheet of paper or a canvas and wondering how on earth do we start to meet the brief that's been set. There are so many distractions. As art students, I'm sure there are other things you'd prefer to occupy your time. But by just looking at some of these systems in these videos, I can assure you that by applying them to your own brief, you can quickly come up with ideas that will break that dreaded writer's block. It's like magic. Suddenly, an idea appears and the work all starts to make sense. So what's this system I promised? Well, we're going to begin right at the start with linear and lateral thinking. Linear means thinking in straight lines, whilst lateral means we're thinking from lots of different directions and are not interested in the straight line way of thinking. And the system we're going to look at was invented by Edward de Bono. It's called the 6 Thinking Hats. De Bono allocated a different coloured hat for a different way of thinking. They are the white hat, the red hat, the green hat, the blue hat, the yellow hat, and of course the black hat. But what does each hat represent? The white hat asks us to ask our own questions. We'll see some examples just a little later on. The red hat asks us how we feel about a particular topic. Emotional response to something is important, especially within art. Whilst the green hat is all about creativity. If you decide on a particular topic, which direction are you going to take it? And the blue hat asks us to think about our thinking. Are we applying all the different systems of thinking that we need for the task? The yellow hat asks us to make a value judgment about the good points. And the black hat asks us to do the opposite, to look at the bad points. But how does this apply to us? Let's pretend we've been given a single word as the brief. It can be anything. But for this example, why not use something I've used before? Yep, water. Let's look at each of their thinking hats in turn. As we saw earlier, the white hat is to do with questions. We ask questions about the object or the brief. What is water? We can list everything we know about it. Perhaps something like plastic bottles will stand out to you. Waste environmental damage. So the red hat, that deals with emotions, how we feel about these things. Make a list of feelings associated with all the words we listed for the white hat. Before we go to the black hat, which is judgments. Make a decision on which of these emotions affect you the most. And the yellow hat, are there any good things you can think of? Make a list of these too. The green hat, well, that's all about creativity. If we run with the idea, where could it take us and how would we get there? And now for the blue hat. Think about thinking. Okay, I admit this is a tough one, but what do you think will work and what won't work? It asks us, could we include things like availability of materials, scale, cost, etc.? It provides us with bullet points of many factors we could and should consider. Of course, not all these hats will be relevant all the time, but the more you use it, the more relevant it can become. Try it for yourself and see if it works for you. Well, thanks very much for joining me for this video. I hope it makes sense to you. Remember that this idea of the thinking hats is something that we're applying to fine art, but it was intended for something else. So you can borrow, change, move things around, use the bits that you think apply, and leave the rest aside. Whatever works for you is all that matters. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like, share, subscribe and bash that bell. And I'll keep you updated with the new material as it comes out. Thanks very much for listening. Bye.